welcome back to Camp Little. This week we find Joe getting ready to build an automatic wool farm. He is going to build a sheep pen that has chambers for automatically shearing sheep. This wool farm will be a perfect addition to Camp Little.
I'm gonna have to fill in this big hole first.
Joe wasn't sure what was going in this part of the property until recently, so he left a big hole that was there in case he wanted to use it for a build. As it turns out, nothing made sense to build in that hole and be able to keep the Camp Little theme.
By filling in this hole, I will have plenty of space to put a sheep pen. It can even have a couple chambers for shearing sheep automatically.
Joe filled in some stone at the bottom of the hole and then made his way back to the surface to fill it in the rest of the way with stone and dirt.
Just a little bit of a climb.
Joe quickly filled in the hole so the area would be ready for the new build. With the ground level, he took some time to mark out where the new sheep pen was going to go.
The main section of this build is going to be the two chambers that hold the sheep for shearing. That's going to be 5x4. Then each side will have a 5x4 pen, making the entire thing 15x4 blocks.
Sounds like Joe has it all figured out. After marking out the location, he ran off to the cabin to get a good night's sleep. Being well rested and prepared for the build tomorrow is really important to him. He wanted to show how prepared and organized he was for this build.
Good morning. Today's going to be a wonderful day.
Joe peeled himself out of bed, eager to get the wool farm started. He was excited that this would be the last building to complete Camp Little. The first 2 blocks were placed and the sheep pen build had begun. Joe was going to use stone bricks for the central structure in the form of both blocks and walls. Oak fences and oak planks would make up the pen and the roof, with light gray stained glass surrounding the shearing chambers. Of course, an item elevator made up of droppers would be used to bring the wool to the surface and store it in a barrel that was easy to access. Joe began digging up the area below that would be needed to capture and store the wool.
That should do it. Wool is one of those things in Minecraft that can be considered essential, especially if you need beds. You can make carpets and paintings too.
Wool was a very useful block in Minecraft. You can make it with 4 pieces of string if you don't have any sheep, and you can dye it any color you want.
I'd like to use wool for banners to mark locations on all my maps.
Joe placed the droppers that would bring the wool to the surface. He would only need 3 to get the job done. A barrel placed on top of the droppers will collect all the wool. The dispensers he is placing will have the shears for shearing the sheep. Observers below the dispensers will watch the grass for updates and trigger the dispensers when the sheep eats the grass. The solid block will need to be behind the observer, so Joe uses stone bricks. To make the chambers for the sheep, Joe uses a couple sticky pistons and light gray stained glass blocks for the entrance. This would ensure that sheared wool falls directly on the block below the sheep, so the collection system works. By placing a door on the front of the chamber, Joe could go through, but the sheep won't. This way, he could lure the sheep into the chamber and close it in. Each side of the chamber was going to have a pen made of oak fence. Instead of a fence gate, Joe uses 2 oak doors on the end. This will be a pen for the sheep when they are not being sheared.
This is coming together.
Joe got started on the roof of the building. He is using oak planks and slabs to create a gentle sloping roof to cover the pen and the shearing chamber. He adds a bit of glowstone to light up the inside.
This roof is coming along.
Joe continued working on the roof for a little while and then turned his attention on making the collection system work. stone placed behind the dispensers will allow the observers to trigger the shearing of the sheep.
Just need a little more space down here.
Joe made room for the components of the collection system by removing some dirt. There will need to be a hopper on both sides of the bottom dropper, pointing into that dropper. A sticky piston 2 blocks away from that bottom dropper will hold an observer that will be lifted up to face another observer, creating a clock that moves items up the dropper.
I just need to place the comparator now.
With that part of the system complete, Joe filled in the space with dirt, making sure the observer on the piston had room above it to move in place. He used bollard rails to place the hopper minecarts that will pull the wall through the solid block the sheep is standing on. Once the hopper minecarts were placed, he removed the rails. These didn't have to be powered rails, but that's what he had on hand. Joe retrieved the rails from the barrel above, and he knew the system worked. Joe turned his attention back to the roof as the sun was setting on another day. There was still a lot he wanted to get done, so he worked into the night.
This thing is really coming along.
The automatic wool farm was well on its way to completion. Joe was very happy with the way it looked so far. A very simple build with a little bit of function. This sheep pen and wool farm was perfect for Camp Little. A simple lever will activate the glass piston doors, enclosing the sheep in the shearing chamber. It was now time to fill in the dirt to cover up the collection system. There was no need to provide access to this area in the future since it was so simple.
Awesome, this thing's ready for some sheep.
The sheep pen was ready to receive its first sheep. Joe wanted to find some white sheep and he could dye the wool any color he wanted. 2 sheep per side should be enough, and he would put 2 of the 4 sheep into the chambers to collect the wool over time.
I should put up some lanterns first.
Camp Little looked amazing. With all the buildings in place and everything lit up, it was absolutely beautiful. Joe went to the cabin to empty his inventory of any items he no longer needs. In the morning, he was going to adventure off to find some sheep.
Okay, I can put this stuff here. These items go there. That's where the stone goes. Put away the wood. Don't need this stuff. Don't need this much dirt.
Joe put away the last of the items he didn't need from his inventory and was ready for bed. He would capture some sheep in the morning and get the wool farm operational.
Here we go. I wonder how far I will have to go to find these things.
Before Joe could get started on his search, he was met with a barrage of monsters. He defended himself expertly, but got a bit close to a creeper, which caused a bit of damage to the terrain.
Well, I better fill that in.
After filling in the hole with the dirt he had on hand, Joe ventured off looking for the sheep. He looked high and low, but he didn't have to go far to find 2 white sheep. Getting them back home was going to be the challenge. While bringing back the sheep, Joe encountered some pillagers. Lying in wait, these pillagers ambushed Joe and his sheep, and with the high ground, they had the upper hand.
A creeper too? Oops. Dang it.
After beating the pillagers, Joe searched for a sheep to replace the one he accidentally shot. Lucky for him, there was a gray one nearby. While heading home, he stumbled upon another white sheep, so he grabbed that one instead. Joe arrived at Camp Little with the 2 white sheep he went looking for. He was happy that he didn't have to travel too far to find them. After putting the sheep in a new pen, he fed them so there would be 3 sheep. Joe bred the sheep and put a few in each side. He wanted to have enough sheep so if he needed more wool, it didn't take long. Only one would go in each side of the shearing chamber though. Joe worked on getting the sheep positioned in the automatic wool farm. It ended up being trickier than he thought it would be. He fought with the animals for a while, and eventually both chambers had a sheep, and the 2 pens had 2 of them. As the sun went down, Jill worked on extending the cobblestone road to the sheep pen. There needed to be grass around the chamber and the 2 pens, so he brought the road right up to the shearing chamber, but left grass in front of the door.
I am so glad the sheep pen and automatic wool farm is done. Getting the sheep in the chamber was pretty difficult, but now that they're there, it appears to be working properly. Once this road is done, this last addition to Camp Little completes the whole property. I had so much fun building all these small farms and buildings, and I hope you did too.
Joe continued working as the sun fell below the horizon. Camp Little was nearly complete, and he was so excited to show it off. With the addition of the wool farm, this property had a little bit of everything you could need playing survival Minecraft.
I'm sure I forgot something.
If you can think of some little farm ideas, leave them in the comments. If there are enough ideas, Joe can come back for a second season and improve Camp Little.
I've already been thinking of some things that could be done with the space between here and the bay just north of Camp Little. A port in that bay would be pretty nice with a couple larger boats. I have never tried to build a small ship in Minecraft, so that would be fun. I was also thinking of a nice road leading to that port with a few small buildings and a church making up a little village.
You could even call it Little Village.
I like that idea, narrator. If any of you can think of some ideas, let me know. Season 2 of Camp Little could be a lot of fun.
With the road complete, Joe checked the perimeter fence for monsters. He was in the fighting mood, and extra bones for bone meal would come in handy when he finishes the landscaping.
Defending Camp Little is pretty easy. Nothing can really get in, and everything is lit up so well that you don't even have to bother unless you feel like killing monsters or if you need the mob drops.
Joe continued looking for mobs, and he was having fun doing it. The perimeter fence gave him the perfect vantage point to take on the monsters that spawned just inside the forest.
Ow! Wow, that was fun.
After collecting the items dropped by the mobs, Joe makes the climb back up to the surface. He then makes his way around to the southwest gate to get back inside Camp Little.
Looks like Camp Little has its own built-in mob spawner. All you have to do is run around the perimeter fence and mobs will spawn just inside the woods. What a great accidental feature.
Joe was very happy with Camp Little, and frankly so am I. It has been pretty awesome following him around and watching this property grow. From the chicken machine to the wool farm, Camp Little has all the essentials. beginning with just a small cabin as a place to rest and grow sugarcane for paper on a mapping trip. Camp Little has grown to include many small farms and buildings. The cow barn and smokehouse goes hand in hand with the chicken machine to make enough food to sustain just about any adventure. The sugarcane farm is perfect for making sure Joe has paper for maps, and the small shed with its many ways of making bone meal is helpful around the manual farms. The addition of the honey farm is probably the smallest useful farm on the property, and it's definitely one of Joe's favorites. A friendly campfire and lava lamp light up the areas that nothing would really be built, filling the spaces nicely. The lodge provides a place to rest for any friends or travelers, as well as being a meeting space for any important discussions. And towering over them all is the bamboo farm lookout tower, probably one of my personal favorites.
Mine too.
With all his ideas for a second season, I can't wait to see how this area looks in the future. A road and a village just north of Camp Little connecting the property to a small port would look awesome. There would need to be a bit of terraforming, but it would all be worth it. Just a few layers of dirt to bring the area down to the same level as Camp Little. And most of the trees could be put right back. Building a ship in the harbor of the port would definitely be the most difficult build for Joe, since he has never done that before. Also, there's a village south of Camp Little, and it would be great to build a road and a bridge to it. Connecting this entire valley would make Camp Little the seat of a little region.
That's a great way to put it, narrator. This area really does have a lot of potential.
That's what I think, Joe. Your ideas are easy to imagine while looking at this magnificent aerial shot thanks to Flashback Mod. I can't wait to see what you come up with for the next season. Meanwhile, inquiring minds want to know what the next series will be about. Will you go right into the next season of Camp Little? Will you found a new property somewhere else on the map? Will you show everyone your main base and work a little there? So many possibilities.
I guess you're just going to have to wait and see.
Well, there it is, the wool farm and sheep pen. It's a great looking simple building with a basic redstone farm. Joe did a great job keeping it little. It isn't going to produce a lot of wool, but over time, just like the rest of the builds, this barrel should fill up with plenty of white wool. From there, Joe can dye it any color he needs. This will be perfect for banners used to mark locations on maps. Everything is done just in time to enjoy the sunrise.
Thanks for watching another one of my videos all the way to the end. That's one of the best ways you can support me as I grow this channel, creating things all over my world. I look forward to more adventures in Minecraft and hope you come along as I explore and build.
This concludes another episode of Camp Little. Thank you for supporting this channel by watching all the way to the end. It really means a lot to us. Tune in next time to see all the builds and adventures Joe is up to. If you would like to support us, just watch this video again and share it with your friends. Commenting on the video helps give it a boost as well. And of course, if you haven't yet, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Until we meet again, goodbye.